riding in the steep and deep, each manufacturer offers a line of mountain machines. From BRP, it is the Summit line. Here's what our test team had to say after taking out the 2011 Skidoo Summit 800 with E-Tech power for a first impression.
We had a great time on the Summits. They're an awesome sled. They rev, you get into the snow and just pin it, and always it gets you out of trouble. Just the tracks, I mean, a 154-inch long track, boy, there's nothing like it. Get into some fresh powder and squeeze it. Those sleds handle really well.
Summits are real easy to side hill. They're easy to maneuver. They climb like nothing else. The suspension, we had some real rough trail on the way in here, but the suspension would absorb everything. It was didn't bottom. It was quite a comfortable ride. Even without the sway bar in the front of the Summit that I was riding, it leaned a little more in the corners on the trail, but was still very controllable. The handling's great on the in the deep snow with the narrower ski stance. It's very easy to side hill and very easy to maneuver. You know, if you're going in and out of the trees, it handles real well. 154 or 163, they just pull up the hills like crazy. You think the length would be a detriment on the trail to getting around the corners, but it's not that bad. It's very controllable.
First impression notes: love the throttle response with the E-Tech. Has a small vibration in the idle. Long track is balanced and handles well, even on the trails. Power that pulls through almost anything.
Keep in mind when you're studying the machine, the amount of carbide that you have on your ski needs to work with the amount of studs that are in the sled.
Studs and runners kind of go hand in hand. You want your sled to be balanced. Once you stud it, it normally takes a little bit more to get around a corner. So what we recommend is if you're studded, minimum would be 6 inches of carbide. You want to balance, you don't want to put too much carbide in there, because the more carbide you put on there, the more steering effort you're going to feel in the handlebars. You want just enough to know that once you stud, you're going to have to upgrade your runners. Usually the OEMs come with 3 to 4 inches of carbide. Once you stud, you're probably going to need about 6, depending on the amount of studs you put in there. The more aggressive you are with your studding, the more aggressive you got to be with your front end.
If you're going to stud your track, make sure that you also put proper size carbides on your skis. Just adding studs may push your sled and leave you less control when it comes to cornering. The debate rages on over what is needed and what is nice to have. But one thing for sure is that with the technology that now goes into today's snowmobiles, keeping them affordable for the consumer is an ongoing challenge for the manufacturers.
Yeah, there's a couple of things to think about here. First, you have people saying, well, what if you had a $6,000 snowmobile? You know, if you took something and decontented it. Well, everybody's done that, but it seems like nobody wants to buy a sled that things have been taken off of. They want all the latest and greatest technology, but the problem is when you have volumes that are half of what they were, say, 10 years ago, that cost keeps going up. Now, a person who wants to get a lot of value has great opportunity in the used market or non-current still. So I don't think anybody's being left out. If you want to buy a brand new machine, it's going to be more expensive. But when you have less volume, you have more features, you have more EPA requirements, costs can only go one direction, and that is up. I guess as far as short term, you know, we want to get through this recession. Obviously it's officially over, but our industry's typically first in, last out. So we want to keep our dealer base happy and healthy. We want to control our inventory, make sure we don't have more units out in the field than we need. And long term, obviously we want to keep getting exciting products out there. We certainly have challenges with EPA and emissions that we make sure that we hit those numbers, and we have plans to do that. But it'll be an interesting next couple of years to see where everybody plants their flag from a technology standpoint, and where the customers are going to choose to put down their hard-earned money.
With the type of sleds today's riders are demanding and the effect the EPA is having on the manufacturing process for engines and clean technology, trying to produce a sled with the right price point is an ongoing concern for all involved within the industry, least of which is the end user. Can we afford to keep technology on the leading edge year after year? That's a tough question. Send us your thoughts on this to info@snowmobilertv.com. When STV returns, it's the Great Northern Rally from Manitoba.